Welcome back to the channel. Today we're working on a 2008 Dodge Grand Caravan and we will be changing the front brakes. The front driver's side seems to be sticking a little bit, so we might have the fun of showing you how to unstick a caliper slide. So I'm going to get the wheel off. I'm going to go ahead and turn to the left to get us some access to these bolts. Here you can see we've got the van jacked up. We've got the wheel off. I've turned the wheel all the way to the left. Now I want to bring your attention to these items right here. We've got some brake caliper grease, some brake clean, a flathead screwdriver, a caliper hanging hook, a 1/2 inch drive ratchet with a 21mm and a 3/8 drive with a 13mm. And then we also have this disc brake caliper tool set. There will be links in the description for all this stuff. Just wanted to show it to you before we get started. The 13mm bolt, or the 13mm socket, is going to be for the caliper bolts that hold the caliper to the bracket. And this caliper bracket has to come off to get the rotor off. So in order to get that off, we have two 21mm bolts. So usually when I'm doing a brake job, the first thing I like to do is take our flathead screwdriver and just go between the caliper and the rotor, and we're just trying to push this piston back just a little bit just so it's not crammed. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this video, I suspect one of these slide pins is seized up, so it won't surprise me if I can't get this to actually push in. Yeah, normally that'll squeeze a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and start with removing the caliper. And these bolts don't have to be extremely tight. I think a lot of these bolts are 21 to 25 foot-pounds. So you still don't want them to be too loose. I have a feeling that was a little tighter than it was intended to be. That's about how it should have been. So one reason I think that the caliper pins, or at least one of them is seized on this, is a weird feeling that we had while driving, and also this wheel would get really hot. So the bottom one's good. Let's get this. That one's good too. We might actually have a bad caliper. The piston could be seized in here. Well, we're about to find that out. Well, let's go ahead and find out if this is seized. I'm not liking how difficult this is to push back. Well, I think at this point we're gonna need to replace this caliper. Shouldn't be that difficult to run back in. Alright, you can see how that hanger works. So let's keep going on the removal. All right, and here's our 21 millimeter. Let's go ahead and put this in the off mode. Since we have the clearance here, we're just going to attach a 21 millimeter socket. Alright, so it's at this point we're going to look around and see how much a new caliper is. Alright, so we need to remove this rotor from this hub. What happens a lot of times, you can see just you got some buildup of rust and corrosion. So we're going to invite our 4-pound sledge, I think it's 4-pound sledgehammer, to this party, and we can hit it from the backside. And we're really just trying to get this rotor off of this ring right here. So since we have a new rotor, I'm not worried about damaging this face or this face. So we're just going to start swinging on it, see what happens. Alright, came right off. Alright, so we have the new caliper. I've already painted it. We're going to put everything back together now. So I'm going to get the rotor on. We'll get the caliper bracket on. We're going to go ahead and load the caliper with the hardware and the brake pads. So this is one of the areas where I like to use the brake lubricant to put where the hardware goes to keep rust from forming there. Here's one of the clips, and you can see they're not the same for every one of them. There's two different shapes. So this shape right here is going to go toward the inside of the wheel. Let's put one on. Okay. So this one we're going to put on here. You can hook the front edge toward the rotor. Okay, just like that. Alright, so here where the brake pads install here, I'm going to put just a little bit of grease here and here just to keep them quiet. And you'll notice one of the brake pads will have this indicator on it, and those are typically toward the inside. So this pad will actually be on the inside. Put a little bit of grease on this one. Now that the caliper bracket is loaded, we can install the caliper. Alright, we've got the brake caliper reinstalled. I am going to look up the torque specs for the caliper bracket as well as the caliper to the bracket, and then I'll come back with that. Alright, so the brake caliper bolt right here is 125 foot-pounds, same as the bottom, and this one is 26 foot-pounds. Alright, we're all good there. I'm going to pause this video and then I'm going to get the brake line hooked up from the old caliper to the new caliper. I am going to make a separate video on that just so that it's out there. If you want that video, if you want to watch it, I'll put a link in the description below or at the end of the video, one or the other. Alright, so I've got the caliper replaced. I've already got it bled, everything's good to go here. So we are at the end of this project. And this is our end product, our end result. Pretty happy with the way it looks. Again, I put the POR 15 paint on here as a rust preventative. It's just gonna last a lot longer than the bare caliper. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. Appreciate you watching. If you have any comments or feedback on this, go ahead and put those in the comments as well. All the links for anything that I used throughout this video, I'll have a link in the description below for that. But thanks for watching. Keep an eye out for more videos on this van. I still got several other things. So far, I've replaced the sway bar end links, the sway bar bushings, and I've got a few more things to change on here. So hopefully we'll see you on another video.